Well, good morning.
Good morning.
God is good
All the time.
all the time.
God is good.
Where is everybody? Good gracious.
I think there's.
Maybe they got flooded out. They're in their homes.
I think they finally got tired of me.
Think so?
No.
No.
It's not here, raise your hand.
Well, good morning again. They're all here. I didn't see anybody. We're, of course, in the study, we're studying Joseph. Oh, there you are. I was looking for Mary, but she's there. I thought you were sitting up here close. Okay. It's funny how things work out, isn't it? Especially in Joseph's life. His brothers just did a dirty deed to him. They threw him in a well or a cistern or whatever it was. And we're going to kill him, but Reuben spoke up and said, don't do that. And Judah speaks up and says, well, here's some travelers going over to Egypt. Why don't we sell them and get some money out of it? You know, if we're going to do this, let's make something of it. And all that has happened. And now a famine has come to the land, as Joseph said. And they've come to Egypt to buy grain. And here is their brother, who they do not know is their brother yet, is the governor of Egypt. And they're standing before him. And we left off last week where they have come to buy the grain. And Joseph has seen them and recognizes who they are, but they don't recognize him. And he says to them, you are spies. You have come to the nakedness, to see the nakedness of the land. And they said to him, no, my Lord. Now, isn't that strange? They're calling their brother Lord. If only they knew. They will, but not yet. But we're your servants, and we have come to buy food. We're all one man's son. We're honest men. Yeah, they're honest, aren't they? Your servants are not spies. But he said to them, now, you know, this has just got to be tickling him a little bit. You know, there's some of this in him, got to be. No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land. And they said, no, your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more. They're talking to the one who is no more. But Joseph said to them, it is as I spoke to you, saying, you're spies. And that's where we begin today. They've come, they've seen, and they've been accused of being a spy. And they say, no, we're honest men. So 42 verse 15 and 16. In this manner you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh you shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother. And you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there's any truth in you. Or else by the life of Pharaoh surely you are spies. What he's saying is, I'm swearing by the life of Pharaoh that you're going to be tested, and by his life, you will be spies. You'll be considered spies if you're not what you say you are. Now, he knows they're not honest and respectable and all that, doesn't he? So in the eyes of Joseph's brothers, Joseph is an Egyptian official. That's all they know about him. That's who this man is. They have no idea this is his brother, their brother. They could never have imagined that he would be this guy. You ever seen that commercial? That just prompted me. Most guys talking about wrinkles, and there's this stuff that you put on your eyes to keep the wrinkles around. Most guys, and he'll say that several times, most guys don't use it. Most guys don't do this. He says, but you're not most guys.
But as an
I don't know why that comes to my mind, but it's just,
Yeah, Bert, you look young.
it works, man.
Did you hear what Mary said?
What's that? I caught her with her mouth full.
As the governor under Pharaoh, he would look like an Egyptian.
Yes,
He would be dressed.
he would be dressed like one and look like
So it
one.
would be difficult having put him in a pit, Joseph in a pit, and seeing him now, they wouldn't know.
No, they had no idea. But we won't see it this lesson or the next, but we're going to see it. It'll all happen. Verses 17 through 20. So he put them all together in prison 3 days. Then Joseph said to them the third day, do this and live, for I fear God. If you're honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, but you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses, and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. So they've been there 3 days. Joseph made what I think would have been a strange but revealing statement. He says, do this and live, for I fear God. Now, we know he fears God because he's a godly man. But he said that to his brothers. And I'm wondering if he wasn't giving him a hint who he was. But I think he said that because he feared God, because he was, in a sense, getting revenge. I'm going to put him in prison. I'm going to put him through this stuff, maybe. And then he realized, no, I can't do that. Look what happened to me. All this, as he will say eventually, they meant for evil, but it sure has turned out good for me. And so I think in his soul, he was thanking God for where he's at. And because he loved God, he couldn't do this. And that's what he's saying here. That's my interpretation of it. So he says to them, I fear God. Now I want you to prove you're honest men. I'm going to keep one of you, send you back, bring your little brother, and if you really got a little brother there and you bring him back, I'll believe that your story is true. And so they leave. Oh, well, let's go. Let's look. Verse 21. Then they said to one another, we are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore, this distress has come upon us. Something that he said, and I think it was, I fear God, for I fear God, that made them think back about Joseph. Why did they think of Joseph? I mean, he's out of the picture. He's gone as far as they're concerned. But all of a sudden now, they're feeling guilty for what they did for Joseph. God's working on them. You know, you can do something that you know God doesn't want you to do, and you can feel good about it for a while. But there's going to come that time when God is going to hit you with it, and you're going to realize, I shouldn't have done that. And I think that's where they are. They're in a place now where they're examining their life. Are we really honest? Because we got to go back and get our brother to prove that we are honest. And this is coming to mind. I had that happen today. I don't know about y'all. But there's times when I go back to my past and think, did I really do that? Should I feel bad? Even though I know I'm saved, there's things that you do today that you wish you hadn't have done. That's where Joseph and that's where others are at. And then they say, this is the first time we hear that Joseph was pleading for his life. It says, For we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Can I tell you something? Jesus is pleading for all those people, for your one that you're praying for. And they won't hear, really. They just won't hear. It's like the pastor was talking this morning. Opening up your ears is like seeing the light. Same. You got to hear the gospel before you can see the gospel. And you see the gospel in other people, the way they live. Verse 22, and Reuben answered them, saying, did I not speak to you, saying, do not sin against the boy? And you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us. I think that's a little I told you so, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he did. He's just being honest. They were going to kill him at first. And remember, it was Reuben that said, no, we're not going to kill him. Let's just put him in a pit.
Let him die.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Just let him die, and we won't have blood on our hands. We didn't kill him. They're talking openly, and they're in front of the Pharaoh now. Or not Pharaoh, but the governor, Joseph. And Joseph has been speaking with an interpreter. We'll see that. So they don't know that he can understand what they're saying. And they're talking like this, and he's just inside. He's got to be laughing a little bit. Yeah. 23. But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them and wept. Then he returned to them again and talked with them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Now, he heard what they were saying, and it says he turned from them and wept. I don't know that Joseph knew that they were going to kill him. Maybe this is the first time he heard that. They just threw him in the pit. Maybe he didn't know that they were going to kill him. But it broke his heart, what they were saying. You ever had somebody say something bad about you and you hear it? Or you hear somebody, or somebody tells you they heard something bad about you, and you know it's not true? And it just breaks your heart. Somebody would think that about you. That's what happened, I think. He turned away and wept. And then he gathered himself, I'm sure, and he turned around and he said, okay, here's wait a minute. I'm going to take Simeon, and we're going to hold him. And we will keep him until you get home and bring your brother back. So verse 25. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money to his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them. As wicked as they were to him, Joseph is as good. He gives them all the supplies they want, and he gives it to them. This is what we call mercy and grace. He gives them the food and their money back. Now, they don't know it yet. They know they got the grain, but they don't know they have the money yet. And this just shows how we can be forgiving. You know, the hardest thing to do is forgive somebody who's hurt you. It really is. Because it's so deep inside, and you're just devastated by it. But God within you can change you. And he can give you the strength to forgive. And that's what this is all about. We see Joseph in the process of forgiving. It's a process. Forgiving is not easy. Not when somebody's really hurt you. So he gives them the grain, he gives them their money back. And now in 26 and through 28, so they loaded their donkeys with the grain and departed from there. But as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey feed at the encampment, He saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of the sack. So he said to his brothers, my money has been restored, and there it is in my sack. Then their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, what is this that God has done to us? You feel the guilt they have. Every time something happens, God is in it, doing it to them. That's their thought. And it's true. It is God. God's teaching them one big lesson. And it says their hearts failed. Now, they didn't die, but they were close to death, I think. I think when the Bible says that their hearts failed them, they really, really felt bad. It really hurt them to know what they had done. I think they come to the realization of what they really had done. And they were sick in the heart. That's a different kind of sickness when it comes from the heart. They didn't know it was Joseph that had put it in there. And now they're thinking, uh-oh, they may come to get us. Something's going to happen because somebody put this money in here and there's a plot to get us. Because they know they didn't put the money in there. Now, this is just one brother. Verse 29. Then they went to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, and told him all that had happened to them, saying, the man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, we are honest men, we're not spies. We're 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the Lord of the country, said to us, by this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me. Take food for the famine of your household and be gone. And bring your youngest brother to me. So I shall know that you're not spies, but that you are honest men. I will grant your brother to you, and you may trade in the land. Now, I would not have liked to be the one to tell Jacob this. Jacob's lost his favorite son. Now they're wanting to take his youngest son, Joseph's actual brother, same mother, same father. And this has got to crush his heart. He just doesn't want to do it. This is the moment the brothers were dreading. They're returning home without one brother, Simeon. So they've lost one brother already. They had to tell him, now they've left this one, and then we want to take Benjamin with us. So they began to tell their father what occurred in Egypt, and front and center on their mind was that Lord or master of the land spoke to them roughly and accused them of being spies. Well, they deserve to be talked to roughly, don't they? They're getting what they should have. A little fear put in them. Here's what they were saying. Daddy, that Egyptian man spoke to me bad and thought we were spies. Can you imagine that? But we told them, yes, we did. We told them we're honest. We're not spies. We explained that we was there. We had 12 brothers. One's dead and the youngest left. Hoping he'd feel sorry for us, probably. It's all true. They told them the truth. But I believe they were making sure Jacob knows the reason they left Simeon. But more importantly, why they have to take Benjamin back with them. And we can only read the written word, but I would have liked to have heard how they told him. I would just love to have been there listening. And don't you know they had a lot of conversations on the way back
On the way
home?
back on how they're gonna do it.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? We've got ourselves in a big pickle. How do we handle this? And they said, well, I don't know, but Reuben, I think you ought to talk. No, I think, yeah, you ought to tell Dad. No, I'm not telling him. You're the one who did it, you know that had to be going on. And then they couldn't believe he didn't take them for their word, but I think there was a little bit of, I'm getting even with them. 35 through 38. Then it happened as they emptied their sacks that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob, their father, said to them, you have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more. And you want to take Benjamin. All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, kill my two sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrows to the grave. This is the cry of a pitiful father, isn't it? He was just in misery over this. He's got now two sons that's been taken away, and they're wanting to take the third. And he just frankly tells them, no, it's not going to happen. Each one opened his sack and found money in it. Now, I don't know, but it stands to reason to me that having seen that every one of them had money in it, that they would think something is going on here. The Bible doesn't tell us, but they had to be thinking, what in the world? We gave them the money. How did it get back in our sack? And I just cannot help but imagine they thought they were set up, and this is our comeuppance for what we've done. That's why everything they believe is from God. God is punishing them. And they're right. They really are. All this is to get them back to him and to save the nation of Israel. More so than anything else, this is why Israel is where it is today. Think about that. That's God's long-term plan. And he was not going to have Israel, the nation, die. And this is the way he saves them. Listen to Jacob. You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more. And you want to take Benjamin? That's the cry of a broken heart, isn't it? And I can understand. And then he says, all these things are against me. By saying all things, included in all things that are against him is the money in the sack. That's against him too. That's the way he looks at it. I think Jacob realized there's a plot here. Something's going on, and it seems to be against us. But Reuben spoke up. And who's Reuben? He's the one who said, let's not kill him. He says, let's not kill him, just put him in the pit. But he speaks up and told him, you can kill my sons if I don't bring Benjamin back. That's a pretty tall statement. Real tall statement. Because he doesn't know for certain he'll get Benjamin back when he brings him there. He has no idea why this governor of Egypt wants Benjamin there. supposedly is to prove that they're honest men, that they're telling the truth. But there could be more to it. They just don't know for certain. So look at chapter 43. Now the famine was severe in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten all the grain which they had brought from Egypt, that their father said to them, go back, buy us a little food. Let me stop there just a minute. What's Simeon thinking?
Yeah.
How long have they been there now? We don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Y'all
he's-
ran out of grain.
Yeah.
They've eaten all that grain, yeah, so it's been a while.
Didn't work on him.
Yeah, Simeon said, you know, what in the world? Verse 3. But Judah spoke to him, saying, the man solemnly warned us, saying, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with us. Now Reuben isn't talking, now it's Judah. Now it's funny, these are the two characters. The one that said, I'm gonna kill you, or the one says, don't kill him, and the other one says, let's sell him. They were neither one very well. One was better than the other, maybe, I don't know. So he says in verse 4, if you send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. Now, like I said, we don't know how long they'd been there. Long enough to eat all the food. And the father has asked them to go back to Egypt to buy more food. By now, I would imagine Simeon is thinking, well, I'm going to rot here in prison. And Joseph is thinking, brothers surely are surely scoundrels. They're leaving Simeon here and they haven't come back. So Judah speaks up, tells his father, the man solemnly warned us that we cannot see him unless we bring the brother back. So we're not going. He gives his father an ultimatum. Either he comes with us or we don't go. Well, they had to have food. So he says, we take Benjamin with us or we just don't go, and repeats what the man said in Egypt. So look at 6 and 7, verses 6 and 7, chapter 43. Something different happens here, see if y'all notice. Y'all will, I'm sure, because y'all are really sharp. Y'all got a great teacher, so you'll understand. See what happens here. And Israel said, why did you deal so wrongfully with me as to tell the man whether you had still another brother? But they said, the man asked us pointedly about ourselves and our family, saying, is your father still alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to these words. Could we possibly have known that he would say, bring your brother down? What happened there? What's different?
Israel.
Israel. Instead of Jacob, he's called Israel. And if I'm not mistaken, I read on further, I think it's Israel from here on out. Now, we're not told why Moses changed from Jacob to Israel here. But I think this is because beginning now is the beginning of Israel, the nation. This is putting it all together. Joseph is going to save the family, the brothers, the tribes of Israel. And so he calls him Israel, just out of the blue. Instead of Jacob, it's Israel. We really don't know the reason that it changed, but we can all speculate, can't we?
It's interesting too that it's Judah now. Judah is talking. He's taking the forefront, it seems.
That's right.
Instead of Reuben, it's Judah talking to Israel. Interesting.
Judah, the Jews, right?
Land of Judah.
And then in the answer that they gave him, he said, the man asked us pointedly about ourselves and our family, saying, is your father still alive? Have you another brother? Well, they lied. He never asked, did they have another brother? They volunteered that. Remember? He says, we're honest men. We're 12 brothers from one man. And the one is no more, but we have another one at home. The youngest is at home.
Wonder if they're wondering, did everybody get grilled like this when they come to get grain? They had to go through all this answering
I
about your
don't know.
family and stuff? That should have kind of, put a red flag up.
You would think. But even in the midst of all this, they're still lying to their father. Because he never asked them to do that. They volunteered that. Now, he knew they had one, obviously. You know? It says, you came here to see the nakedness of the land, according to Genesis 42:13. And then they said, your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more. They volunteered the information. So the boys just can't tell the truth, can they? But you know what? One lie begets another lie. And you keep repeating it until you actually believe your lie.
Right.
You know, it becomes reality to you when it never really happened.
A lot of politicians.
I mean, well, I've lied a lot. You ask me how much I weigh, I'll tell you, it's a lie. You know? And I get to believing it. I got thinking one time I was really skinny. And then I looked at a picture of me and said, wow, I'm not. I'm still handsome, but I'm just fat. You know?
Your eyes look good.
Most guys. I would use that. How do y'all put up with me? Huh? Verses 8 through 10. Then Judah said to Israel, his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go that we may live and not die. But we and you, and both we and you, and also our little ones. I myself will be surety for him. From my hand you shall require him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. For if we had not lingered, surely by now we would have returned the second time. If you'll recall, Judah made the statement, what profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? You're right. It wouldn't have been any profit. Is it going to be a profit? They'd already gotten food to eat from their brother who they were going to kill. Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother in our flesh. They sure didn't treat him that way, did they? Now, Israel doesn't know this, because if he did, Israel being Jacob, if he did, he certainly wouldn't trust Judah to care for Benjamin, would he? Now, though, the option is being offered. He will protect Benjamin in order to save his family's life. Before, he was willing to do anything to Joseph, but now he's going to protect his other brother. I wouldn't believe him. But his father, Israel, Jacob, doesn't know him. So he trusts him. We're going to get out a little early today. 11 through 14. And their father, Israel, said to them, if it must be so, then do this. You know, sometimes you get to a point where you just have to do something you really don't want to do. You ever been there? Don't want to do it, but you got to do it. You got to go before someone. A good example is if you get in trouble, you got to go before the court. Now, you wouldn't want to do it, but you just got to do it. You got no choice. I've had to go apologize for something that I didn't really want to, but I had to because God told me to. It's hard. Where am I at?
11.
Yeah. If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best fruits in the land in your vessels and carry down a present for the man, a little balm, not B-O-M-B, B-A-L-M balm. Yeah, you know, my accent may mess this one up real bad. And a little honey, I can get that one right. Spice and myrrh, pistachio nuts and almonds. I love pistachio nuts.
That interested me because of the famine. The famine was just growing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, but they have-
yeah, they still had fruit and stuff,
And
yeah.
I had missed that study that they had. And so he's sending Joseph a gift of what he has.
yeah.
And he's returning that money too, and he still thinks
Yeah.
there might be something.
And not only that, he's doubling it. He's verse 12. Take double money in your hand. And I don't know, the way I read this is it's 3 times the amount because it says take double your money in your hand and take back in your hand the money that was returned in the mouth of your sack.
Yeah.
So it's 3 times the amount. Perhaps it was an oversight. Now, that's a positive attitude, isn't it? And if I was Joel Osteen, I could have a positive sermon here and tell you how good God is and that all you have to do is ask for Mercedes and you get it. I hope he's not watching on YouTube. He probably is. I don't think he's one of the 4 that sees it every week. I went viral one week. I think I had 30. Is that funny?
Yeah.
I was excited. Gee. Take double the money in your hand and take back in your hand the money that was returned in the mouth of the sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take your brother also and arise, go back to the man. And may God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may release your other brother and Benjamin. If I'm bereaved, I am bereaved. So Israel relents and allows Benjamin to go back.
So you wonder, was he unable to travel, or why didn't he just say, I'm going with you? To make sure
I
that
think,
something
well,
don't happen,
He's probably getting a little older now.
so he can't travel.
And somebody's got to water the top pistachio tree. He didn't really want him to go, but that seemed at the time to be the only alternative to receiving any more food. So he proceeds to tell them exactly what they will take to offer this official of Egypt. Honey, balm, got it.
Is that for your joints now, or what?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a little balm, spices and myrrh, and pistachio nuts and almonds. And the last 2 I really love. And some of the spices and herbs probably pretty good. But the most important thing was the money, I think, because he doubled that. Remember though, the money they paid the first trip was found in the sacks, and they were concerned it was planted in order to accuse them of stealing it. So Israel tells them to take double the money, take back the money that was in the mouth of your sack, and another amount to pay for it. He wanted to make sure Benjamin got back. So he's going to do everything he could. And listen, he was a rich man. I mean, he had a lot. But the famine hit him as well as it does anybody else. And you know what? I don't care how much money you got. Sickness comes to you just as well as it does anybody else. We see that all the time, don't we? Money can't buy you health. It can buy you a doctor to look at your health, but when God says you're coming home, you're coming home. Israel prays that God will give them mercy before the Egyptian official, which of course is Joseph. And that he'll release the other brothers, Simeon and Benjamin. So we see now that he fears that Benjamin may be taken by Egypt also. And he ends with a double statement. I am bereaved. I am bereaved. Remember what we said last week? When God says something twice, you listen. You know? I think in a sense that's what he was doing. I'm bereaved, I'm bereaved. He's telling his sons, you better bring Benjamin back. Because later on, he says, if you don't, like the brothers had told the Pharaoh, he said, if you don't, this gray-haired man's going to be in the grave. And even in that, Joseph is telling them that Benjamin is more important than they are. And the reason for the entire problem is because of the jealousy they had of their father because he loved Joseph more than them. And he's still showing that favoritism with his other son. And so their hearts are hurting too. Instead of the coat of many colors, it probably should have been called a coat of many troubles. You know, because there's just a lot of troubles. And that should be a story for us, something for us to learn. That we shouldn't show favoritism to our children. We all have one child probably that was better and always was good. I know my brother was and I wasn't, so my mother and father probably, that's why they named him Albert. And they hated me. Jealousy causes a lot of problems. And when you get jealous of something, you can do some things you wouldn't imagine. Because jealousy can turn into hatred. And that's what happened with the brothers. It turned into hatred, not to the father, but to the one that he was showing his love to. Which is silly to me, but that's the way it worked. Thank you for your attention. And let's hope this goes viral. Father, thank you for this time together. Thank you for your word. I pray, Father, that I do well with your word and that people actually learn from my teaching. I love you. I thank you for the ability you've given me to stand up here and talk. But mostly I thank you for your word, how it touches the heart and changes people. It sure changed Joseph, and it'll change these brothers. We love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
There.